Oh, the fuck that weird ass noise is. I mean, I do. It's the red Didio signal from my FM transmitter. We're getting pumpkins on the side of the house. So it's been about a week and a half. Since I have graced the tubes with my presence. 5,000 RPM. Oh, look, a bunch of kids running, getting ready for track. They're nice group of kids. That's super. So it is 25 till 9 on a Thursday. And I'm on my way to a friend's house, actually a friend's rental property, to run a circuit for an air conditioner, supplemental air conditioning. It's more of a favor than a job, but when you take these kind of favors on, it becomes a job. And I mean, I don't mind helping, but the more and more people ask if I still do electric, I tell them I don't do that anymore, because I really don't want to. Once in a while, if it's somebody needing something real quick, or hey, I got this question, yeah, if I have time, I'll pop over and do a little thing. But for the most part, I'm not going to charge anybody. I don't plan to charge anybody to do any jobs. I just don't want to take them on, because that's responsibility that every time I do it, I think, oh, well, I can start my own business tomorrow. I could do 3 service changes a week, and they're out there. I could do 3 service changes a week and make probably just as much money as I do now. But, well, probably less on account of insurance and everything else. I would probably have to do 5 service changes a week. But doing a service change a day, some take longer than a day when you're by yourself, or if you're by yourself. It's, for the most part, they're fairly straightforward, but occasionally, and it seems always the smaller houses. The smaller the job looks, the more time it takes. You got a great old big 2-story motherfucker, and you got your attachment point 18 feet off the ground, but 9 times out of 10, that meter's right there, and it goes straight in, and your panel's there, and it's easy. The hardest part is, it's not even the hard part, but the hardest part is setting up a 24-foot ladder. Getting that done, that's the hardest. It's just time. A lot of it's just time. Because houses that are in dire need of a service change most likely have been already changed. rarely come across an old fuse box from the 40s. Still out there. They are there. And I've had people, even 20 years ago, call me up, or friend of a friend says, "Hey, I need to upgrade my electric," and I'd go over there, and it would be an old fuse panel with a couple sub panels or sub fuses. And so, well, what exactly is the problem? What are you blowing fuses? Oh no, maybe once a year. Like, okay, so are you trying to add something? No, I just need to upgrade. You don't have the money. You don't really need to. It ain't broke, don't fix it. Things do deteriorate over time, and electrical panels are not exempt from that. But if they're just hanging on the wall, they're not going anywhere. It's not doing anything. They still make fuses. They still make. But if you're wanting to add a air conditioner, and even more today, you have LED lighting and more efficient appliances. You have more efficient appliances. That's the trick. Everybody has microwaves and toaster ovens and convection ovens and these new fancy toasters and cookers and air fryers and quick pots or whatever, and those do take a lot. But your general lighting and vacuum cleaners are always terrible, but TVs, things like that, they don't drag a lot. So anyway, service changes are. We had a scam, a plan. A guy I used to work with, a friend of mine, that we would have a base price for a 200 amp service, $1,200. Boom. That is exactly what it would cost for this, and it would lay out. This is exactly what we would provide, because they're all basically the same. Whether you're attaching it to vinyl siding or to concrete or a metal barn, it's all the same. Those applications were negligible. So, ground rod, panel, meter base, X amount of wire, weather head, so many breakers. That's it. Because all the connectors and everything are pennies. So, we figured the average house had, a 30 amp, a 60 amp, a 50 amp, like 5 20 amps and 5 15 amps, all kind of interchangeable, and like 18 feet of service wire plus the 6 feet going in. Anything more than that was an additional price. So if you have an electric furnace, you're going to have a 60, a 30, and the heat pump. So, for every 60 amp breaker is an extra $40. For every additional 15 amp breaker is an extra $12 or something. Anything above, the 18 feet SE cable is an additional, $20 a foot or something. So even with that covers material, because honestly, a service change that you do, for 18 feet or 25 feet, it's really not that much more labor. It's mostly material, and you're looking at minutes of trying to, unless you have to go up and around and do some weird funky thing. But yeah, we also figured we would eat that too, because we would make it up on other projects. And you buy a master reel of 4-aught SE. You buy crates of meter bases. They're all the same. You use the same meter base. You use the same thing for everything. So our initial cost, we could pay for. We figured we could do, what was it, 5 or 10 service changes and build enough capital, build enough to invest into doing a year's worth? It was like 100 services. We could, if we took all the money that we made on the first, I think, 10 services, after paying ourselves, whatever it was we were paying ourselves an hour, and then whatever profit we dump it straight into it, then we could start. Our investment was nothing but time, and eventually, because we had ladders, we had our company trucks and stuff. We could use that for, not that our boss didn't care, but it wasn't like we were stealing company time. We were just using his stuff. If we broke something, we would replace it. But it was a simple time. We were doing service changes. We're doing 1 or 2 a week almost. But it seemed like, and it just never got off the ground. That's all we would do. Just service change. Ground rod, so much wire for the electrode, so much wire for the waterline bonding, so much more if it's a different scenario. If we got to climb in a crawl space, it's extra, whatever, based on the job. And we'd go out and say, okay, and we'd give free estimates. We'd show up and say, okay, and that way, we would advertise it in the paper. Back when we did the paper, we were going to. It never happened, but we would advertise service change, $1,200, and then additional see whatever for details, and we would lay it out. If you have and the homeowner could go into their basement, look at their panel, and say, oh well, I have this many circuits, I have this many breakers, this is what they're going to give me for $1,200. It's going to cost me $1,200 to do, whatever. And most of your houses, a lot of the, additional circuits and hot tubs and things, those are, we weren't planning on doing adding an electric outlet. We weren't gonna, oh, well, you run a dryer circuit over here. If we were there, yeah, but we weren't going to become a service company. 3 people set up correctly. 3 people can do 2 service changes a day. One person could do a basic, straightforward, in and out service change in an 8-hour day. Maybe a little more. Depending on where how far you got to lug all your stuff and clean up, and 9 times out of 10, it's a straight 8-hour job. It's an 8-10-hour job for one person. But so you got 2 people You got one person outside prepping and getting everything ready. You got one person inside yanking and rigging, and then you have the third person over at the other house getting started doing whatever. And most of the time you start from the outside, you're working your way in. So, you know, you get two people cranking one out. You get the third person on another project doing the same thing. The two people wrap it up in 6 hours. So you start at 8 o'clock in the morning. By 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock-ish, you're wrapping up. And you head over to the third person's project and you bang that out in 2 or 3 hours. So in a 8-10 hour day, you can do 2 surface changes. And that's, you know, material on that, you're looking at close to maybe $600 each. And that's on the heavy side. So, you know, $2,400, you're into it for $1,000 in materials. Way less, no, not even. You can get a 200 amp main breaker panel kit at the depot for $125. Breakers are like, you know, $4 or $5 a piece. You buy them in bulk, you end up getting them for nothing. So for, you know, a day's worth of work, you just made what, $600 a piece. So, but you got a lot of, you get overhead, and you got to buy ladders, and eventually, but that shit would cover itself. We thought, well, we'll do weekends, we'll do, you know, just nothing but service changes on the weekends for 3 or 4 months, build up enough, and then, you know, because I had a pickup truck, he had a pickup truck, fuck, we could pick up ladders cheap, didn't need much, a couple extension ladders, maybe like $3,000 worth of tool and equipment investment. And you can do it with the basic tools, just takes longer. You get, you know, the more you get into it, the better equipment that you get, hammer drills and stuff like that, which we had available. Anyway, I'm glad I didn't, because I would be, well, who knows where I would be now if we did that. I'd be rich as fuck, I know that. But I'm glad to be getting out of the game. I won't take on any more jobs. I'll help friends out. And this is more of a learning experience for my friend's son. Yeah, he's 19 years old. Yeah, wanting to learn skills and things. So, yeah, it's more, it's an easy enough project. I'll know in the first 15 minutes how long it's going to take. I might get in there and it takes, you know, who knows. But we'll see. If we have to cut a hole up in the wall upstairs, we got to cut a hole. They can do drywall patch. You can learn how to do that. But it's quick and easy enough. It's just take your time to do it right. Just show him how that it can be done. A lot of people don't need to know or be shown exactly what to do. They just need the encouragement and the reassurance that you're allowed to do things. You're allowed to move things out of your way. You're allowed to drill holes and really dig in and see that there's ways around obstacles, and instead of something being just plug and play and cut dry, because the world ain't built like that. It's trying to be now, and good on engineering, but most of your scenarios are not that way. So I'm going to be a few minutes late. Told him I'd be there at 9. I'm not gangbusting to get there. It is 3 minutes until 9 now. I've probably got about 3 minutes of highway, and then it's right off the highway. So 9-ish in the rain. Like I said, I'll know within the first, by the time I set up the ladder, drill the first hole, run a fish tape up, see where I get stopped. If it goes all the way to the second floor, we got something to work with. If I run the fish tape up and it goes 3 feet, we got some work to do.